Okay, so hi everyone. Very good evening for this fourth episode, wherein we try to get various individuals who have studied outside India and try to get their perspective about how it is studying in a foreign country, what are various aspects which one should look at, and what kind of excuse me, what kind of strategies one should utilize in order to make most out of it. So we have for today's session, we have Mr. Nishant Arora, who has a number of years of experience and not just having studied, but having stayed also in US. He has a number of years of experience in the primary energy as well as energy conservation space. Nishant is Vice President of Association of Energy Engineers, Northern California chapter. And he has about 20 plus year of experience. And As far as basic education is concerned, he started as an engineer, completed his engineering from LD College of Engineering, Gujarat University. And subsequently, he went on to do his MBA in sustainability from Leeds School of Business, University of Colorado, US. And he's also, and he's quite intimately involved in the energy sector per se, and with sustainability. Apart from other things, he's also a lifetime member of Association of Energy Engineers uh, and US Department of Energy Data Energy Practitioners. And Most recently, a couple of months ago, he also completed this independent director, one can say, certification from Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. And He has been also recipient of Award of Excellence in recognition from Outstanding Leadership and Services from Northern California chapter of Association of Energy Engineers. He's quite passionate about clean tech, as I mentioned earlier, and solving large unsolved challenges. Given his family background is having several engineers and scientists, so physics, of course, is one very important area of his interest. Apart from studies, along with the academic pursuit, he also worked with Silicon Valley-based startup Innovity, where he helped and built to scale a new line of business called ESCO, which is energy services company that helped the company its multi-million dollar exit. And then the company sold out to Veolia in North America. Just recently, last year, he came back to India after more than a decade in US and started a company in stealth mode for an ecotech. And He was also appointed director of a startup he was mentoring, and also writing a book on corporate governance. So far from the clean energy space, governance is another area of interest for him. Along with a couple of his colleagues, he's writing this book and also quite a bit active in the non-profit space. He's in the process of starting this non-profit entity which serves in the energy and healthcare space. And Apart from this, also founding trustee of another Bangalore-based non-profit, Nirvana Hearing Care Foundation. He continuously keeps on advising various startups in IT, Delhi or Silicon Valley, and very active. So we're just a couple of minutes away while he's joining. He's doing some technical setup. As far as US as a study destination is concerned, it's a very promising country, and what we can have is a few examples which we have seen from success of various Indians. Say, for example, the CEO of Google, Mr. Sundar Pichai, as well as Microsoft, Satya Nadella, and there are several Indians who have done remarkably well in US. And the advantage lies that the environment, the academic as well as the industry environment supports uh, uh, these talented individuals, no matter from which country they belong to, and supports in rising also to the top. Uh, Apart from several kind of programs, we have also, apart from undergraduate as well as a postgraduate level, a lot of people also go for research. So let's just wait for Nishant to join in, and then we will start the conversation. So Nishant is almost set. He's just joining in a minute. Uh, Unfortunately, we had to start it a bit late because he is on the way to a place, and now he has taken a kind of a pit stop. And almost in an hour, he again has to travel back to a particular place.
Good
Yeah, hi
evening,
Nishant.
Dr. Siddhartha. I'm really sorry for
So,
the delay.
no,
I
that's
think, like it's like Murphy's Law, whenever you plan to be on time and, things, work against you. But
no, no, no.
I
So
guess that's
I
what
would
defines
say
all of
that
us.
yes, yes. No, but that's okay. I was just introducing about your background to the audience, and then I would say that you came at the right time.
Thank you.
So everyone, we have Nishant with us. And as I was saying, that Nishant was on the way to some place and he has taken a pit stop to be with us. And thank you very much, Nishant, for that. And after
Thank
this
you.
session, also, he has to rush back to again next trip. So Nishant, based you studied in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, then you have been in Delhi for quite a while. What was the motivation after your engineering to go to US and then study this MBA program?
Yeah, firstly, like thanks for your introduction to the group. So yeah, by my background, like I'm an electrical engineer from Gujarat University, LD Engineering College. And as you mentioned, like after like many years in my work life, I actually moved to do my MBA, and that too in sustainability, so completely changing my field. So I think like what happens, sometimes is serendipity. So things, one thing leads to the next. And in my case, like it was a near death experience which happened to me in 2008, which took me, from a journey which I was having in the fintech domain. So I was doing a pretty like fantastic. I had a fantastic job with Tata Consultancy Services, where I got a chance to travel abroad to Belgium and Holland, and I was leading a team over here, and later on, got into pre-sales as well. But then after this experience, like I had a soul searching kind of a moment where I felt, like although like with my work, there is some good impact being made to the bottom line of the companies, which were the largest banks over there. But with the financial crisis, I felt, like somehow the software which we made, that was the only platform which was, trading on the day when the market crashed, and it was for HNI customers. So on one side, like I was, bedridden over here. I had a couple of months to think that, because of my efforts, the rich became richer, the poor became poorer on one particular day. And that soul searching led me to the field of sustainability. I tried to start up over here in India in 2010. Like I started a sustainable construction business, but then I found, like if I have to scale, if I have to, do something impactful, I probably would need to have a higher degree. So with that, like I searched for colleges which were there, and like I had very clear picture in mind that sustainability is the goal. So I need to learn from the best. And I, in my quest, found two universities which had IPCC, Nobel Prize, winners who were actually teaching. So in India, it was Christian Pachori, like he was the lead in the IPCC panel, and there was Professor Paul Comer, who was a Nobel laureate, part of that panel, which got the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize for defining climate change. So I got admission in both the colleges, and I then decided to go to the US because it gives a diverse experience. And I would say, like, I wouldn't regret even one bit going there, because like what I found over there is like it's not purely the MBA students are working together, but it's like cross disciplinary courses can be taken. So, and not only that, the course structure was there. There was a lot of hands-on experience which was also happening. So for example, I had an internship with the National Renewable Energy Lab, and within that, like, I explored some of the most cutting edge problems which are there. Back in 2013, they defined something called as the duck curve, and today, like,
Okay.
I'm like, with my startup, I'm solving that. So I feel I was in a place where very intellectual people were there. So, and Rocky Mountain Institute was another institute which I do want to mention. So they are at the cutting edge of defining the policy aspects of the energy transition. So they had so we had interactions with people like Emory Lovins, who started RMI, and people like Professor Paul Comer, and then there was Professor Al Bartlett. So he gave around 1,700 lectures on the
Okay.
exponential function and energy and population, and he holds the world record in giving the maximum number of lectures. And I was very fortunate, before he passed away, I attended one of his final lectures which were there, and got to have a word with him as well. So interacting with the intellectuals, it actually increases your like thought process. So there is a Sanskrit saying which is there, when which I'll translate in English. So when a drop of oil is put on water, the oil spreads on the water. Similarly, when somebody moves to a different country, although you are putting yourself in a situation where it might be difficult for you, but then you learn a lot of things. And I think being humble, like learning about new cultures, and then that very aspect of different approaches of solving a problem. So the diversity which is there, right? So unity in diversity, like we hear that a lot. But then also, like, problem solving which is there in Silicon Valley, they don't see which what is the color of your skin, or like which country you belong to, or are you able to solve a problem. And that's what matters, right? So it's a completely meritocratic society which was there in the US. And
Okay.
I basically loved working over there. So overall, my experiences have been wonderful at University of Colorado Boulder, and basically the lead
Okay.
school of business.
Okay, wonderful. So apart from the academic activities which you went through, what were the non-academic activities which were involved, and how difficult or easy was your acclimatization, maybe in terms of food, in terms of maybe opening up to people, interacting, creating a social group, because that is one very important aspect as far as a person's day-to-day activities are concerned.
Hmm. Yeah, so we were very lucky that our MBA program, they were people who were focused on making sure like international students are very comfortable. So like I like in during my MBA had interacted with students of 25 different nationalities, and the international students were
Okay.
supposed to come 2 weeks earlier, and the international students interacted with each other. So for example, like I interacted with one of the students who was a Palestinian, and like one
Okay.
of the students from Kuwait, like somebody from Chile, and like there were so many different nationalities which were there. Japan, and like each of them, one of them had a different approach, and a different style. So within the first 2 weeks, it was like an immersive kind of a program which the MBA took care of. And after that, like once like we were fully immersed with how things work and what things happen. I mean, I do want to mention over here that there is always an international, like in a college, there's always an international club which is there. So in our case,
Okay.
like not just the international club, but there was an Indian student society which was there, and the Indian
Okay.
Student Society was very active. So they made sure that we are picked up from the airport and we stay at a particular student's place, and it was like a yearly effort. So each year, a new
Okay.
student will become the leader. They'll make sure that you have a place to stay for a bit till the point of time you search for your accommodation, and that culture goes on. So like what I got, I gave back, like the very next year. But that whole culture which is there, right, making people like acclimatized, was something which was really close to me. And I would also maybe mention over here, that apart from these colleges, like even I would say the professors who were there, they were like really sensitized about like dealing with people from diverse cultures. So that is something which is very important. For example, like it is so heartening when somebody says happy Diwali, like even though like it's not happy Diwali but happy Diwali, but
Yeah.
they would make sure that they wish you that. And and we are also then happy to call them along to our functions and events which are there. So there was an international coffee hour which was there, which
Okay.
happened every Saturday, and it was open to like any of the students who could come in. And apart from that, MBA has different clubs, right? The marketing club is there, and finance club is there. But then there was this international club also which was there, and people could come to the club. There would be a speaker who would speak to a particular topic, and there would be some international food which would be served. So just consider having seaweed as a Japanese food, which is getting
Okay.
offered. So it was interesting. That whole experience which was there was very curated, but like made each one of us students very comfortable.
Okay, wonderful. So, given that you had a diverse experience with people from different nationalities, in case you have to make some approximate or maybe comparison, how do Indians are perceived in US as far as intellectual aspect is concerned, as well as maybe let's say the culture is concerned? So, how do they are perceived compared to maybe let's say other nationalities?
So, in a student environment, say for example, in a college, they are definitely considered as very bright students, like who are like really hardworking. So that's like clearly a given, and it's also seen that Indian students are maybe having that natural tendency to solve technical issues, IT problems, and stuff, which
Okay,
sometimes I find funny, because not every Indian student is able to do that. Like I had the background maybe, but
good.
few students were not. But then they are perceived as that. Having said that, people have a positive, they have a very positive outlook towards Indian students. So
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, great. So, having spent so much of time being involved in so many activities quite intimately, what was your motivation to return to India? Uh,
Right. So I think like having spent around 10 years in the US was good. So I got a chance to work on some cutting edge work. So we did energy and energy efficiency, and that too following very stringent codes in California. So like I think like I had good experience over there. Like had saved some money, and I think like like visa is always an issue. So in the US, the H-1B and then the green card and all that. So I think the overall, the process which takes around 15 years, like 14, 15 years, um, like you are kind of stateless till that time.
Okay.
So that was something which I said, like I firstly, like I was a NCC cadet, and my father was a scientist in
Oh,
ISRO. So like that natural, inclination, and then like I had also back in the day, got into selection for the Indian Army during the college days.
oh wow.
And
I
so
did
yeah,
not know
so
it.
with all those things, that inclination was there to come back, and it was only a matter of time that when that happened. So my like H1B, the 6 years completed, and like I thought it was time to be back. And so yeah, I'm
Okay.
here, and then starting up. So the experience which I had over there, that can't be taken away. Like although like there are many things which like one can think of. Most of the people who go abroad, they don't plan to come back, but I would say that there are a great number of opportunities which are coming up over here. And like the kind of growth rate that this country can give, which India can give, I think no country today is growing at that rate, and that is a given. So I would say, like it would also be nice that you can solve the problems of your own country. And if at all, like like you have good experience over there, try and build a bridge. And that's what I would say, I'm still trying to do. So like I'm mentoring some Indian uh, students over there in the US. So in a Silicon Valley based startup is like I'm kind of advising them. And at the same point of time when they were visiting India, I made sure that like the students who I'm advising over here at IIT Delhi, they meet. And like fantastic things happen, and that's what I did. So when these the folks from San Francisco, when they were visiting, I took them to IIT Delhi, and basically they had gone to the incubator at IIT Delhi, and it was an overall a good experience. So I would say that that exchange of thoughts, or maybe exchange of ideas, is very much something which should be there. And I would say that
Great.
they have a very different approach of solving problems. And I would say like many of the good things which they do abroad, like I've worked in Europe as well, and as well as I've worked in the US. So I would say like one should try and pick up all the good things from people, and like different countries and nationalities, and leave the bad stuff. And I think that's what makes us a better person. And I think overall, like even India as a concept, like we have had the Mughals, and before that, like we had so many different civilizations which
Cultures,
actually came
peoples.
in, and they have made the culture rich. And that's what I think we
Agreed.
should continue to do. So yeah, I
Agreed.
I think like I'm on that journey.
Agreed, agreed. Wonderful. So my part to the audiences, my personal experience with Nishant has been very interesting. So I had been taking a course on personal branding when Nishant had been a participant. But I found him a person with so much of, I would say, initiative to give without any sense of expectation. I found that is, I would say, really refreshing. Usually, when people do, let's say, give something to others, at least in the Indian context, that is what the frame of mind we have. It is always there that, okay, wo kya mang raha hoga. So maybe somewhere we have that feeling, okay, this person is doing something because of sense of expecting something. But it is not always so, as Nishant talked about, that when you interact with so many people from different nationalities, what you build is a much more richer perspective. And a similar set of experiences I had in Europe, as Nishant was saying, this international dinner.
Hmm.
So I had experience with Italians, Spanish, Germans, etc. People, when they come, they would bring something to the place where people could share among each other and then enjoy
Yes.
all these things. So I found Nishant very helpful, and fortunately he also cleared independent director assessment test, and hopefully we'll see him soon somewhere as an independent director. But I would say that his efforts were not just in clearing the test, but what he did was he's a very systemized person. He created all these the soap process. So it's around 40, 45, I think, modules which are there on the IAC portal. He went through very meticulously through all that. He created materials, took down notes, and then he freely shares with participants who are wanting to go through that course and then clear it. So a sense of giving is something very interesting, very unique, and personally, I quite admire with Nishant. So,
Thank you.
Nishant, you have been with the Indian ecosystem, of course, and I, I think a couple of months ago, you and a couple of your colleagues from US, I think some
Mhm.
prize or something, accolade you won. So, what was that about? If you could just talk a bit.
Yeah,
So, what
yeah.
was
So
that
Sid,
given for?
yeah. So as you know, like I'm, volunteering my time with the Association of Energy Engineers. So currently, like I'm the vice president of Association of Energy Engineers, Northern California chapter. And within that, because of the volunteer work and the giving back, as I want to mention. So like I think the board decided to give me that award, about leadership and service. So excellence in
Okay.
leadership and service award, it was what was given. It was a plaque which was there,
Oh,
and I think it was something which I really cherish. It is one of the highest points in my career, I would say. And yeah, I think like selflessly giving is something which everybody should practice, because like somebody up there
agree.
is watching. So if you give selflessly, you'll make sure 10 times more is what you receive. And I have that
Yeah,
personal experience. I definitely feel one should give as much as they can, whether it's their
yeah,
time, whether it is their knowledge, whether whatever, in whatever way you can give, you should. And not everybody is fortunate. And I feel
agree.
like I stand on the like the shoulder of giants. So I think it's my responsibility to build the next set of leaders. So I think like a leader is only successful when the next set of leaders are there. And yeah, I think it's a typical leadership trait which maybe runs in the family. Like I saw my grandfather, he was with the territorial army. And like with the partition, like he came back to India. And like he made sure like all his children, and his extended family, his brothers and his children, so they were all IITians and all that. And he did not know about these things. He would go, he would ask people, he would take the help of people. And then when he was in a position that he could help them back, being somebody from the telecom domain, so he repaid in the way he could. So I think life comes a whole circle. And people should definitely take pride in supporting each other. So that's what
Agreed.
will take us to the 5 trillion economy, I would say.
Agreed, agreed. So, given you had so much experiences and you have been giving, you also mentioned that you have been trying to do some intervention through startups. So, what is the broad set of activities this startup intend to target?
So I think like with the startup foreign ecotech, like I'm working basically in three phases. In the first phase, like I'm working on a software, like an HR related software, I would say, without giving up too many details. So that's the first step. As the second step, or like an ongoing step, I would say, we are working on a software for virtual power plants, or it's also called demand flexibility. So that's the second step. And as far as the final step is there, like I had some ideas which I pitched recently with Niti Ayog. So that is
Okay.
something which would be the third step. And that is something, some nuts and bolts related thing, regarding energy storage. So I think because it is going to be very capital intensive, that's something which is in the final phase. But yeah, like
Okay.
working on the first and the second phases is what is currently happening.
Okay, wonderful. So, in my best wishes for great success to you in
Thank
this
you.
regard. Now, with regards to some time ago, we had discussed about your ideas about the environment in Delhi. Given that winter has set in, and I
Hmm.
was just talking to my younger brother who's in Delhi, it's
Hmm.
quite cold, and even from Lucknow to Kanpur on that area, it's very foggy.
Yes.
And of course, when winter sets in, the pollution level becomes very high. So I think you had discussed about some ideas. If you could just
Right.
talk about this proposed plan of yours as far as maybe helping in the environment is concerned.
Yeah, so I think so all the stuff which is coming out as we call as parali, right? So like I worked on a project which is also like, so parali in the US is called corn stover. So the plant which
Okay,
is left after you take out the corn. So I worked on a life cycle analysis project over there, where we went to the plant, we actually understood their systems, and then in that case they actually had a continuous current reactor, CCR was there, which was converting that into ethanol. So I think they were in that time developing that technology. So basically they tried it from the lab into a 200 kg to a 2 metric ton. So they were working on the 2 metric ton, and they had plans to go with a 20 metric ton, if the 2 metric ton scaled up well. So we did the life cycle analysis, the carbon accounting upstream and downstream for the particular process they had. But during that process, the way this thing is getting done, like I understand that process, and I think although like it is not like part of the roadmap which is there, but I very strongly feel that at some point maybe like I can associate with people like who are like-minded, or are looking for some sort of a solution. So maybe like we could work together. So but yeah, I think that's a problem which many folks are already working on. And success would definitely come to the people like who make that breakthrough. So I sincerely hope like one of these folks come up successful, or if not, if they can involve me as an advisor, or somebody with technical background who can help them. So yeah, I'll see like how things go with that. But like I haven't been actively pursuing per se, because the phase one and phase two has been keeping me busy. And also like the advisory thing which is there with the IT Delhi students. So recently, like I came to get a position as a director in their firm.
okay,
So yeah, it really keeps me busy. In fact, I'm beginning to non-profits as well. So it's one is for cochlear implants. So I'm in fact traveling to Bangalore, like after this interview, like I'll be traveling to Bangalore today.
oh,
So
okay,
for that registration, and also like there is one more non-profit which is there, creating products for benefit of the larger group. So which is
okay,
addressing things within the healthcare, as well as the energy domain. So many
okay.
things keeping me busy. So this project has been on the sideline. But yeah, if I find somebody as enthusiastic, I'll be more than happy to provide any support I can.
No, I'm quite sure wherever you will go, you'll bring that positivity and then
Thank you.
that goodness. And my prayers for great success. I have a couple of more questions, but
Sure.
given paucity of time and then your subsequent trip to Bangalore, I think I'll just wrap up with the last question.
Sure.
With your experience, if you could
Mhm.
just maybe talk about maybe let's say a list of things which anyone who is maybe on account of maybe let's say study at an undergrad or postgrad level, whether
Mhm.
US or other countries, when they go, what are the various things which they should maybe take into account in terms of immersion, in terms of interacting, in terms of learning, so that whether they come back or remain those countries, they could make most out of these experiences. So based on your experiences, if you could just maybe tell a few pointers.
Right. So I think it is very important that when you go to a new country, you actually, participate in their functions, festivals, like anything which is close to them. And, like that's how like you come close to them. Like maybe, invite somebody over, while cooking or whatever. But like you need to really, apart from the 6 or 7 hours you spend in college, like you need to put in that extra effort where you socialize with them. And once you socialize, once you understand, what are things that matter, what are the social aspects, the political aspects, or what is things which people care about. So that becomes something which is of a priority. For example, in the US, they have a function or a festival called as Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is very specific to the US and Canada, where they actually, like, although like I won't go into the historical aspects of it, but the locals, they have a meal prepared, and they will invite the people like who are not original from the US, and they will kneel, dine, discuss, and come close together as a family. And this is something which like was hosted by Dean. So I remember the week when Thanksgiving was there, I would maybe go to 6 or 7 events, and each one of
Okay.
those friends who were there, like I'm still in touch with them. And that's how it should be. Like after hours there was a Tuesday night out and a Thursday night out, where people will meet up for beers. And although like I didn't drink beer, or at least back in the day, I began for a bit and then left after soon after. But I think hanging out with some of these locals really enriched my experience over there. So I'd say do whatever they are doing, and it will be a experience which will be memorable for you.
Agreed, agreed. So if I have to, so I also conduct few sessions with my foreign friends, and if
Mm-hmm.
I have to quote my Argentinian friend, I think it is the same which you said. You have to go out of your comfort zone, interact with
Right.
people. You may make mistakes, but that process, it's almost like you have to become a child in terms of learning. You may make
Right.
mistake, but of course you should have that ability to maybe correct it. But unless and until you go away from your comfort zone, you will not be able to assimilate, you will not be able to understand. And
Yes.
that
It's a
process
very humbling
itself,
experience.
uh,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, great, great. So, almost we are close to 7. So, I think I will wrap it up here. And I wish you a very safe and a pleasant trip to Bangalore.
Thanks.
And
Thanks
of
so much,
course,
and really
we
appreciate your patience. I'm really sorry for the delay today, and I mean, like, no amount of sorry which I say can
uh,
rectify that.
no, no,
But
no.
yeah.
Thank you for. I think it's okay. Some of the things are not in our control, and as I mentioned with the participants, Nishant was coming from one place, took a pit stop at one place, and then moving to another. And this meeting we had decided almost a week in advance. But because of this, I think emerging incident where he had to travel, he still made time for this. So I think for that commitment, Nishant, thank you very much. And again,
Thanks for having me.
have a uh, have a great trip. Uh, okay, thank
Yeah.
you, participants, for joining.
Yeah, and
Alvira,
any
you may
students who
please.
are
Yeah,
interested in
yeah.
sustainability, clean energy, I'll be more than happy to support them in any way. Like they can reach out to me,
Sure, sure.
Nishant Arora on LinkedIn, and I'll guide them accordingly. So at least for the US, like I'll be like very supportive of them, because I know the system in and out, and what are the highs, and what can be the lows, and what are things to do and not to do. I can maybe explain in further detail. So yeah, happy to help.
Thanks, Nishant. And don't hesitate. Nishant is very approachable. So even if he has so much richer experience, and has played senior roles in industry. Is very approachable. So those of you who have any interest within the particular area and intend to get in touch with him, you can reach out to him or reach out to even EduAbroad team, and through them, I can help you reach out to Nishant, and you will be pleasantly surprised with your interaction from Nishant. Very enriching and very full of learning. So thank you, Nishant, once again, and thank you
Thanks so much.
everyone for wherever you are joining. Okay,
Okay, yeah,
okay,
have a great rest
Nishant.
of
So
your
you may.
day, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Nishant.